Is the everything rally beginning? Today we'll break it down. Crypto could be in a very interesting spot. Let's just jump right in. I do want to thank our sponsor today, and that is BTCC. This is where you guys can start to engage in some of these trades out there that are flying up the charts. You can get a 10% bonus on your first time deposit just by using our link down there. A lot of other things that they are doing, including that you guys get extra bonuses up to 10K per user. So if you guys are selected for that, up to 40% lower trading fees. And you can also get the VIP treatment by using our link with exclusive privileges, all from PBN. So check it out down below. You guys get started there. Let's go over to a couple of points I want to hit on. One, of course, which is, I saw this and I wasn't sure it was real. I thought it was AI for a moment. In fact, I checked it. We double checked it. Yes, it's right. Absolutely insane. Venezuela's stock market is now up 73% since President Maduro was captured. And of course, this is absolutely off. It's off the chain. I don't know if this is temporary or if this is a suppression in how this market is going to respond just from here out. Who knows where this could go? So you wouldn't think that capturing another president of a country would be good for markets. For whatever reason, we're starting to see lift in the markets around this. So I don't know if this is anticipating maybe good things happening for Venezuela as a country, or possibly tokenization of some of their assets that they have there that really could be something that could be a global phenomenon if a country were to figure out how to tokenize many of their raw resources. That could be a huge benefit for countries like Venezuela. Maybe that is where some of this, kind of this blue sky is coming from. Other blue sky is coming from Matt Hogan. Matt Hogan hits on a couple of points. Consensus view, I agree with this, Matt, is that institutions are slowly. No, they are not slowly warming up. In fact, they are charging full speed ahead and going into crypto as a key business priority. I think this may be even an understatement right now. And obviously he was, responding to what Morgan Stanley was doing, filing for a Bitcoin, Solana ETFs, all of that. That's old school finance, guys. Old school finance is now in the middle of the crypto markets with these ETFs, which of course injects capital from Wall Street into a lot of these tokens in general. Other things I want to hit on, because this is a clip that I want to go to. This is John D'Agostino, who talks about retail versus what we're seeing in institution. Take a look.
Right, and my question is, the ones that are thinking, did anybody slow down on the thinking?
On the institutional side?
Right.
No.
And are you surprised then that the value of Bitcoin, it obviously went the other direction at a time when you did have this big influx? And so what should we take away from that?
Well, again, during that period of time, you had massive ETF outflows. So what I saw was retail panicking and institutional providing that support, buffer, and foundation for that price not to go even lower. I think today versus a year ago, I don't know of a single large company that doesn't have an AI and blockchain strategy, or at least thinking of one. We're seeing a gradual rebuilding from this liquidity event we had on October 10th. We're seeing retail sentiment catch up to what we've known on the institutional side. So retail sentiment catching up to institutional momentum.
These are the kind of times, guys, that we talk about on this show a lot, and that is that you get these pullbacks, retail runs for the hills, institution just sits back and soaks up all the juice. And it's going to happen again. This is not new. This is a common denominator that we have seen throughout investing cycles in the last multiple years. And I don't understand how retail, maybe it is the fact that we're seeing some new retail coming into it, but I don't understand how retail even flinches at this stuff. In reality, other than tax loss harvesting or something like that, that's a different scenario that plays out all entirely different. The other thing that you got to look at is what's going on with spot Bitcoin ETFs. They are continuing to climb now, coming into 2026 like a lion. This is reported by Eric Balchunas, coming in from Bloomberg, one of the ETF analysts up there. 1.2 bill in inflows. And of course, this is just the first 2 days with, I don't know, this is going to get unbelievable. That's 150 billion year pace right now. And it's just the first week of January. So get ready. Things could be very interesting as the sun is definitely shining. Let's go over and take a look at Whale Tracker, because there's a couple of points I want to showcase right here. Other than Bitcoin Sentiment Tracker starting to slip up a little bit, but if you look at the ETF numbers right here, look at these. crazy numbers coming in. This is, of course, on weekly on Bitcoin. If you go over to the daily, you can kind of see just a little bit more here on where this is going. All of these inflows starting to flow very quickly into Bitcoin and some of the other ETFs out there for sure. Gold's stellar performance in 2025 is now being compared to what we're seeing now with Bitcoin's performance, but more on the sense of the ETFs, because gold's ETFs are slowing. Bitcoin ETFs now starting to flow up. This might be the year, finally, Bitcoin pulls back that crown on performance versus gold. Let me know how you guys are doing this. Are you trading? Because I know there's a lot of people that buy gold and maybe have been in that gold trade since about 3,200 and or silver, because I mean, silver we started reporting on when it was around 30 bucks. This is an opportunity. Is this a chance for you guys to take some profits and maybe go into more risk-based assets, especially as we start to lean into some of the key things that are going to drive this going forward? Let me know in the comments down below. Looking at the markets, utility is the key thing here that we continue to focus on. And it's the thing that I still believe, and I had a conversation, I'll play a clip here in a minute, with another expert in the industry that is talking about utility. And if you look at where the performance is, I'm just going to stay on the 7-day right there in terms of performance. You had XRP coming in at 20%, Solana coming in up 10, even Doge holding at 18. I think Doge is going to end up playing a bigger role in this cycle. Chainlink up 10, they're stellar at 12, 28%, almost 30% on SUI. Absolutely going nuts. And of course, we just had Stephen on from McClurg, Canary Capital, Stephen McClurg from Canary Capital, talking about the SUI ETF that they are launching. That will be another big push into Wall Street in general as well for SUI. Other things that are happening right now, global assets are recording a historic 2025. You look at stocks, commodities, all posted a 50+% combined return, huge. And you look at what's going on in the commodity index, up over double digit. Then Bloomberg Global Aggregate Credit Total Return Index, another double digit. These are the kind of things you just don't see very often. And from what Bessent and Trump and the administration are saying right now, they think this is just beginning. Do you think that? Do you think this is a fake pump that we're in right now, coming out of the tax harvesting period? Stephen was on yesterday, said it was. What do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments. Other things that I want to get to was a clip that I did, an interview I did with Yat Sui of Animoca Brands. If you guys don't know who that is, go research it. If you're brand new to crypto, go out and learn a little bit about Animoca Brands. They are going to be an IPO company here in the US, and I think they are going to be the gateway into Web3. And I asked him on this clip what he thought was going to perform around altcoins utility. Listen to what he had to say.
So things that happened in 25 are now happening in 26. So that's our perspective. So we do think, I know there's some people who disagree on this one, but we do think that 26 will actually be a very good year for crypto. Because things like what's going to happen in the midterms have already been broadly baked in. Institutional interest and adoption remains fairly strong, right? Mm-hmm. The fact that gold and silver have accelerated up is actually, we think, a good signal because essentially, people cycle out capital for faster and better growth opportunities, right? The MicroStrategies of the world aren't going to stop buying Bitcoin. However, when you think about, take away Bitcoin as a store of value, right? Effectively, you can think of Ethereum or Solana or BNB, which are, of course, the other set of the majors, effectively as utility tokens, right? They're very valuable and important companies. But ultimately, the companies that are building on top of this infrastructure are going to eclipse them because they're the ones that own the customer. Remember when Amazon first went out back in I think it was 97 or 98, right? And Yahoo was public. And then you had Google a little later and Facebook later. Like imagine if you owned these companies back in 2000, 2001 or something like that, right? Well, here's my point, right? Which is that if you're a fund, you would have to basically sell and liquidate the fund within 10, maybe 12 years. And that'd be great. You would have made a lot of money between 2000 and 2012 and 13. However, the real growth happened afterwards, right?
Afterwards.
And you would have missed out literally the growth from where they were worth 100 billion to literally trillions.
If you guys want to watch that full interview, we've actually dropped that video already on the channel, so you can see Yat Sui's analysis around this trend that he sees coming out in 2026. He had some other things to say that I think are very intriguing around Japan. That was the video that we did, so check it out over there. Another point that he hit on, which I think is very important, is how the rest of global finance is addressing to what is happening here in the US when it comes to blockchain and RWAs. Here's the reason. The World Economic Forum is about to happen in Davos, and of course, one of the things that is going mainstream, not sidebar, not secondary change or stages, this is getting into mainstream of Davos and WEF around blockchain. So going from on-chain markets to de-extinction. This is going to be one that Yat Sui will be on. We'll probably report about that and many more that are going to be revealing, I think, a lot of things at the World Economic Forum that will be interesting to see how the rest of the world starts to pay attention. Watch out, because I think the EU is watching very closely how the US is starting to attract and treat crypto in general. Other things you got to look at right now is, of course, the Clarity Act. We decided to ask Grok if this was true. Yes, the sources do confirm that the U.S. Senate Banking Committee has a scheduled markup for the Clarity Act. So if this happens on January 15, we're 10 days away from this. Now remember that the markup phase is not a vote. This is for them to add stuff to it, and it's also possible that the markup might get rejected. So don't look at this in a negative way. Back to the point at the beginning of the video is don't get suckered into these, these dips that start to pull into a market that still could get benefit from a Clarity Act. So think about it that way. It takes a process of going through this. Now, there are some other things within the Clarity Act that are important. And of course, this is David Sachs talking about meeting with senators to advance the market structure legislation. This will be critical because many of these senators are now looking at the administration in a different light when it comes to crypto. So it's kind of slowed crypto down in reality of what happened with Trump administration pulling out a meme coin, creating almost a split. What was a bipartisan approach now started to get a little bit of a situation between the Democrats and the Republicans. Keys timelines that are going to be lined up within this act is January for the SEC and the CFTC clarity. That's the big one that is important for, I think, them to get going. May 15th for stablecoin audits and AML rules. That will be another big announcement. If they stay on track, that's the key. Obviously, you have to pass it. And then these would be some of the key milestones within it. July 1st for market abuse prevention under new frameworks. July 18th, broader compliance deadlines. Not sure what all that's going to include. And then August and November for phased rollouts, which would start to see many of these things start to move forward. But the key is getting it passed. Once that's done, you're going to have Fortune 500 treasuries. You're going to have companies all around the United States, as well as market participants on Wall Street, and in general, retail starting to look at this market completely different. You watch. Bullish. Right now, ETH surpasses Netflix to reclaim its position as the 36th largest asset by market cap. You also look at this right here. BlackRock is buying another 103 million in Ethereum as their ETF inflows accelerate. And a lot of people are watching this very closely, and I agree. Is this a short-lived period right now? I want to go to the charts real quick. We're trading at around 32.19. Now, if you look at this chart right here of where this trade has really moved from, if you go all the way back to the bottom of just this recent trade on the 18th of December to where we are today, still up 16%. So are you in the Ethereum trade right now? And if you are you looking at an exit? Is this a short-time trade, or is this a long-term trade for you with everything that's happening around clarity? Let me know. Hit it in the comments down there. Other things I want to hit you on right now, the Ethereum entry queue is now 235 or 37x higher than the exit queue. So there is a demand for staking right now. And this, of course, is the killer app with ETH, the staking opportunities that we will see. And I think now we're starting to see the opportunities that are exposing Wall Street to this kind of stuff, which changes really the dynamic for Wall Street of how they're investing in assets and ETFs in general as well. So definitely hot. Grayscale, speaking of that, Grayscale's ETH ETF to pay staking rewards now. They are doing it, and they've already begun paying these rewards. So it's the first U.S. spot crypto product to distribute protocol-level income to investors. Think about that for a second. You're a traditional investor, and you're now getting a dividend-like reward off of a crypto asset in an ETF. That's just mind-boggling to me in the sense of how you and what we have seen over just the last 12 to 18 months from the Gensler, Gestapo days to where we are today under Atkins and much of this new infrastructure going forward. So the question is, which utility token is poised to crush the market in 2026? ETH, Solana, Sui, AVAX. I know everybody was asking about why we didn't use XRP in there. We responded to it. We said, listen, if we put XRP in a poll, it's just, it never works. It just never works. But I'm going to select. Do you think I should select Solana? Or should I select Sui? I'll tell you what I'm going to do. The one I like and the one I think is going to be the one poised. I think everybody will most likely select Ethereum, poised to crush the market, but I'm going to go with Sui. Oh, look at that. Our audience is actually on it today. Sui, 32.8%. Not a bad run here, but ETH right on its heels. And of course, Solana fading a little bit here in terms of a potential for crushing. In summary, you look at what the big market is doing. When I say the big boys at the table, you look at Morgan Stanley not choosing Ethereum, but going with Solana. That means staking rewards are important. And I think these kinds of rewards is a new toy for the financial markets. That's a big deal, guys. So pay attention to that. I think we're in a bullish trend right now. Does it hold? The Fed is going to be meeting this month. We'll probably get another rate cut. And what do we get on Clarity Act? Those are the two big factors. As long as we don't get in any big skirmish right now, that's a good one. It should be interesting to watch for sure. If you like this video, hit like and subscribe, drop a comment down below, and also join our free private member group. The link is in the description.